What's up, everybody, and welcome to Rejection is a Bitch podcast. My name is Mel. I'm a certified professional coach, and I partner with divorcees that are facing rejection, and I help them discover true acceptance from within. One of the most common questions that I receive from my friends and the people that know of me from my previous marriage to now, bro, how did you find her? How did you find this amazing woman that's treating you better than you ever could imagine? Coming from being a divorcee, someone that the marriage ended horribly, how did I get to a point of being in such a loving marriage? The answer is easy. I actually had a blueprint. I had a blueprint that allowed me to get to exactly what I have. And that's exactly what we're going to discuss today, so be sure you stay to the end of this video and I will give you that. But our primary subject today, did Generation X ruin marriage? Let's break that down. When did divorce begin to get introduced to America? If you look up statistics and you look up any facts about generations, you will see that the baby boomers actually kicked this thing off. This is the post-war generation. Anyone born from 1946 to 1965. This is the generation of rock and roll, the generation of civil rights, television, credit cards. They push all the traditional boundaries. They push everything known to man to make it new and make it their own. They changed American culture forever. They also changed marriage forever. This generation is also known as the me generation. This is a generation where women start to get their rights and start to get liberated a bit, where they can go into no-fault divorce. I don't gotta have a reason to divorce your butt. I'm out of here. So this generation was completely focused on individual fulfillment, all about themselves and not about building family. In particular, in the black community, this began to take effect post the killing of JFK and MLK. To see two leaders that they once had hope in get assassinated, that began to make individuals in the black community rebel against the system. Although baby boomers had fewer children than previous generations, they still had children, but they began to raise them in divorced homes. And that led to Gen X being children raising themselves. The parents are out partying, the parents are out working, the parents out being the me generation focused on themselves, allowed these children to be raised by themselves. That's what introduced the crack era. That's what introduced the gang era. And I'm not trying to exclude any other community, but I'm specifically referring to the black community where those epidemics really took place. But what you find, unfortunately, they're not unlike any other generation. They overcorrect from what the previous generation did. What do I mean? So statistically speaking, Gen X actually married more and actually stayed married longer than the previous generation baby boomers. And I give Gen X kudos for that. Yeah! Clap it up. Yes, Gen X stayed married longer. But what damage was caused doing them staying married longer? Now, this is one of those conversations like you damned if you do, damned if you don't. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this as in Gen X is wrong for staying together. It's just a matter of perspective and a matter of, in retrospect, we can look at this and analyze what may have happened. What damage may have been caused by those parents staying together? Staying together in spite of what they may be going through. Staying together in spite of what their kids may be suffering through while you guys are outwardly expressing yourself. Because one thing Gen X did not do, and I am speaking generally in the vast majority, they did not go to therapy for the things that they did not receive from their parents. They did not go to therapy for being a neglected child. Therefore, you have this married couple who are together on paper. Yeah, you are legally married, maybe living in the same house, but your house is full of hell because you have these undiagnosed, these unattended mental issues that are being exposed daily. And yes, you are attacking that spouse and the spouse is attacking you. You guys are going head to head, going to war, but your kids are getting the brunt of that. You think you crying yourself to sleep from your mental illnesses. What do you think your kids are doing? So statistics will tell you that over 70% of marriages in the 90s lasted about 15 years, which is a great number. The percentage is great. The amount of years is great. But was it a great experience for the children? Overcorrection is never the solution. It actually creates a bigger problem. I say all that to say that is the primary reason, in my opinion, that millennials are getting married less and less and later. Millennials have a 26% marriage rate compared to 36% for Gen Zs and 48% for baby boomers. Millennials are scared to get married. Millennials are scared because they grew up in homes with parents who struggle with their mental illness, struggle with things that they have not addressed, struggles with things from their childhood that they kept sweeping under the rug. They find somebody else to blame instead of looking at things from within. Let's just be honest. Most of our grandparents were horrible parents. Their great-grandparents. And because they didn't realize their mistakes until they got older. Most parents are that way. But it's not your parents' fault if you in your 50s and you still struggling with the things you did as a kid. And I don't know about you, but if you run to a Gen X and try to tell them something about therapy, they're going to look at you and think you a witch, trying to cast a spell on them or something. Like, I mean, therapy to Gen X is like water to a flame. I mean, it's like the worst thing in the world. As most trends or traits or most things within our culture, most things tend to skip a generation. You know, you have the baby boomers who are more entrepreneurs. Gen X, they want nothing to do with entrepreneurship. They want to go to 9 to 5 and, you know, be there till they retire. But millennials, we back to being entrepreneurs. And that's the same about divorce. That's the same about marriage. Millennials and baby boomers may get in that thing, but we ain't afraid to get divorced. It's just a different type of fear. Our fear and baby boomers' fear was all about not repeating what our parents did, meaning we don't want to stay together forever. We want to express ourselves individually. Gen X's fear was the opposite of their parents. They want to stay together because their parents did not, and they don't want their kids to be raised in single-parent houses. Divorce, in a nutshell, is completely a fear-based conversation. But this conversation actually gets me excited because, like I said, I have the blueprint, and the blueprint is my grandparents. They actually saw the beauty in marriage, and they saw the beauty of family. They are Christians, and they are people who buck against what the society was telling them to do at that time, which is fully expressing their individuality. And I sat down with my grandparents about a year or so ago and actually had a conversation with them about their marriage. They said some very interesting things, and I would love to share that with you.
Better off or worse.
Right.
I know it's not going to be always better.
Sure.
It's going to be about half worse. So you have to deal with that. You can't assume, that you married a perfect person. That's, that's naive.
Yep.
Listen, you're being naive. To even think your mate is going to do everything to please you.
Yep.
That just don't happen.
That's true.
They are, who they are, and just because they marry you, doesn't mean that they're going to be somebody different.
Right.
Marriage is about adjusting.
Mm-hmm.
You
adjust for the rest of your life.
That's the main thing. You're going to be adjusting for the rest of your life, even according to age. You're going to do things while you're young, but when you get middle age, those things are going to change. And then after you get old,
and you start getting sick.
Those things are going to change from middle age. So it's not going to be, I married at 17 and I was happy for the rest of my life.
That's what it is, Papa. When you listen to everybody in our generation, my generation talking, honestly, Dad's them generation as well, that's all we hear people say. I just want to be happy. You know, they got this thing called no-fault divorce now. I don't know if y'all heard of that. But basically, you normally have to get divorced for a particular reason.
Yeah.
But no-fault divorce, when you really break it down, just mean I won't happy no more.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. You see the divorce rate nowadays, people don't even try no more.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as the happiness goes away, but who promised you to be happy?
That's right.
It's not about happy.
You know what happy is? It's whatever's happening at the moment.
Ooh.
It's whatever's happening at that time.
Yep. That's right.
I'm just wondering if people, both the male and female, really listen to the ceremony of marriage.
Yeah.
Do they hear what the preacher's saying? These are not just words. This is, something that God expects for us to live by.
Right.
When he said for better or worse, sickness and health and the whole ball of wax, some of us think it's going to be, love and roses, for the rest of our lives.
Right.
I married this sweet woman, and she'd have married this handsome man, and we're going to, ride off into the sunset. but life is not even close to that.
Right.
And it's like the Bible says, this don't even have nothing to do with marriage, but many are the afflictions of the righteous.
Yep.
but he shall deliver us out of them all.
Yep.
And so I think people, kind of have an illusion of marriage. They watch,
soap operas.
these fairy tales, Snow White and
Yep.
Not the 7 drops,
different
still
things.
7 men. About that.
And Shakespeare,
Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet.
Right.
He's constantly talking up to her and saying them nice things. They think, that's what marriage is.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes your mate is gonna get on your nerves, and vice versa.
Right.
But it's still no reason to leave. You have to, remember one of the main things is for better or for worse.
Right. Yeah.
I wouldn't trade that old man for nobody in the world. No, not even who that Denzel is his name.
Denzel.
Yes, I wouldn't even trade it for him.
Yeah.
Well, Vera may get me on there. That's her number one guy. She may leave me for him.
Yeah, it's the same way I feel. My wife is the best thing that happened to me outside of Jesus.
What do you think kept us together so long? Besides the Lord blessing us.
Us considering we're not perfect. You're you and I'm me. And we're male and female, and we're gonna do some things, differently. That's no reason for me to leave because I was warned, before we got married that these things might happen. These things are capable of happening, but this is no reason to walk off.
Yep.
My daddy walked out. I don't know what age I was, but it was between 7 and 9 or something. And I had to wake up and see that. I heard my daddy tell my mom, I'm leaving and I ain't never coming back. And I thought he was just, mad. He was just going up the street or something and get, drunk or something maybe.
Right.
And then come back. But he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He left and never came back.
By you experiencing that, did that help your marriage or hurt your marriage? By you seeing your dad do that?
That could have been, DNA for me, or I could have fell into that same situation when something you might have done, and I might have said, this is what we do as oldest. Women don't act right, we leave them. But I, with the help of God, made up in my mind, that I was going to break that, tradition. I wasn't going to do like my daddy.
And that's what I was going to ask you, Papa. Do you believe selecting the right person has a lot to do with a successful marriage? Because,
yes. Yes.
I'm on my second, Dad's on his second. It's obviously oldest second was on his second, where it went a little bit better for him.
Most people won't say this, Jamel, but my mother was fast. And she was fine, and men wouldn't let her alone.
Yeah.
My mama was real good looking, and she was fine. She was a young church woman, and them young deacons and preachers or whatever it was, I wouldn't leave her alone.
Wow.
And I guess my daddy got sick of it.
Well, that's why when you have meetings at church talking to the young women about marriage, and you warn the young women to stay away from silly women that's laden with sin. That's in the Bible. Some of them, they are laden with sin. They like you say, your mom, she was a fast lady, and the men's after her, but she was fast too. But we to teach the young women not to get involved in women's like that.
Because y'all got married right when they call it the divorce era started, like the 60s, especially in the black community.
Yeah.
People stopped getting, we were married at 80% before that in the black community. And then it started going the totally different direction. Now we the lowest married out of all racial groups. We at one point we were leading everybody.
Yeah, sure was.
At 80%. And now, because we used to, coming back from slavery and the civil rights era, we realized we all we got, so we got to get married if we want to see success.
Yeah.
But now, it went totally different direction. You can go all through history where all that happened with our community, but now it's like every man for themselves. So you know,
a lot of divorce.
But what, like, for y'all to not have that example, like, what did y'all lean on at that time?
And we married very young. I was 16 when I married Papa. And he was, what, 19, 18?
Yeah, I was
almost
18.
18. You was 18.
Yeah, and you know, there was some more couples around
that's what
our
I was
age,
gonna bring up.
and you know, they also got married.
Okay.
Around the same time.
And I don't think any of them stayed together.
Wow.
You know, so we didn't have any role models our age or that's older, other than you know, some parents, you know, that we thought you know, was kind of doing things the right way, but it's really a miracle.
Yeah, it is.
I did have another question on that, because you hear people, because y'all, you know, had the kid and then got married, and that used to be kind of like the standard back then, you know, what they say, you want to make an honest woman out of her, or that's a statement they used to say back in the day. But you hear nowadays, my generation will say, yeah, we having a baby, you know, we're gonna co-parent. You don't want to get married? Oh no, that's too much pressure. That's too much to deal with. I ain't ready for all that. Well, you ready to have a kid, but you ain't ready to get married. They good enough to have a baby with, but not. So was that the standard back then? And if so, did y'all think that's a good thing?
Papa make a joke sometimes, talking about we had a shotgun wedding. I got pregnant real young in high school.
Right.
And my mom was saved. Daddy wouldn't always say. Mama was.
Right.
My mama made a comment one time, because he kept, back then we say courting. He would come to the house, and even though, and what this man did, every week he got paid, he would come across, walking down the street. He didn't drive and have no car. He just young teenage too.
Right.
He would bring a bag of milk. We didn't do farming back then. He would bring milk for Renee.
Oh man.
He did that. So that was good. That was a plus of mama. But he always wanted to come and we watch TV together, and he'd hold and play with the baby and blah blah blah. Mama told me, you and Snow, y'all need to get married, because you're not gonna get another baby on me. That's what my mama said, talking on her.
Right.
You ain't gonna let him keep coming over here having a lot of it. That's what mothers don't stop now. And I appreciate. I was upset with her then. She said it probably, but I'm glad she did that. He'd have been coming over, and when Mama and me gone, he'd be sneaking over, and there pop another baby.
Right.
And that was her word. You and Snow not gonna get another baby on me.
Wow.
Shopping on her.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Because teenagers, you know, they have that mindset. You know, set. You know, even though I might have been a good person, you know, I was a managed boy.
That's right. And I was a fast
and my intentions was sex. You know, but thank God, you know, for her mother, you know, looking out for her and not just,
I'm glad.
You know, allowing me to come and get sex.
Yep.
You know, if you're enjoying the sex, you know, marry.
Right.
You know, and that's the way it should be.
But we got married and on the front porch.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes,
no flowers. The LT
with a borrowed suit. And the coat was too short.
And my dress, because he borrowed from Lawrence. He was a shorter guy. And I had on a borrowed dress. I borrowed from my cousin. And so we got married on the front porch, and the rest is history.
Right.
And then we lived with Muddy and Daddy, which that was, and another thing, back then you had to get blood tests to get married.
What?
So Papa had a dishwashing job. Papa. He had a dishwashing job. He took off that day to go get the blood test, and he got fired.
The man fired me.
Right before we got
I told
so
him
when we married, we
I
didn't
had
have
to
a job.
Go take a blood test to get married.
And he wouldn't let it.
They didn't want you to take off for them little $2.98 job.
And so he lost his job. So when we got married, he didn't have a job. He didn't have a place to stay.
Man.
We stayed with my dad and daddy for a few months, and my daddy would not let him sit up at the house every day and watch TV. So snow. He come back here. You got a job yet?
Oh, man.
Daddy let him stay there. So he finally got a job. And he didn't let him stay around that house all day.
Yep.
And which was good.
Yeah.
All those things is good. You don't let him just stay around.
Right.
And he wouldn't have did it anyway, but he was slow by going in there.
I thank God, for my in-laws, let's say at that time I probably, looked at them cross-eyed. But I thank God, they didn't allow that.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I wasn't supposed to do that. I was supposed to be a man,
Right.
And
Take care of his family.
take care of my family and do the things I was supposed to do.
But every weekend, now we wasn't saved then. We were very young. Daddy would go out with James Wisner. And he's passed on now. That's why I'm calling names people that's gone.
Yeah, James was my best friend.
They would go out and he would go drink and stuff, go party. I didn't care. When I heard about Renee, I packed me and Renee a bag. I went home to my mom and dad just for the weekend. I did not care. He go with his friend, and I went home to mom and dad.
Right.
I did that as long as I could, but my mom seen that wasn't good for me to do that, so she had to cut the apron string.
Right.
And she started treating me bad. Being cold with me, not wanting me to come over. First, she really wanted me to come over, but she didn't care about me and they coming. Then she started acting a little cold. But that's what she was doing.
Wow.
And you married now, so you got to stay with your husband. She didn't say that.
Yeah.
That's what she was doing.
Yes.
And so I finally got the hint, start staying home. And fussing at him for being gone. So we left Nita apartment, and we went into a rooming house with an elderly couple. Over in South Dallas somewhere.
Boy, I'm telling you.
And we were just there for about a month, and then we got our own place in the project. So we stayed there 8 years. Moved there with Renee, the oldest child we had. When we left, we had 4 kids. And Regina, your daddy, and then Andrew. I was crazy about my children. I would put those kids before Papa. Papa want to go to a movie or something, and we look at the movie, and then I'll go downstairs and we didn't have cell phone back then, and use the pay phone, the call. What y'all doing? I don't know. I enjoy being a mother.
Right.
And I enjoy being a wife too. I didn't like going out. He would go out do what he's gonna do, and I stay home with the kids. So
Right.
I don't know. And I think we were he was a settled person, not settled, but nice person, and I was, a decent person. So maybe that's what happened with us to get together. For us to get together, he wasn't just out there running wild. Now, he wasn't no angel out there either. He would come home with telephone numbers and his phone and his billfold. I'm telling all
Somebody was always trying to hook up.
But
we used to sing in a group.
Yeah, he sung with Barre, and, he sung. They had appointments at nightclubs and sing.
Right.
He sung with a rock and roll group. Yeah, he sung with the, what was y'all? Star Tone. They were pretty good.
All right.
They was pretty good. They got engagement stuff, and the girls like, well, when he get telephone number, he wasn't gonna call nobody. But what I got upset with him, he come home with lipstick on his white shirt.
Yeah, them girls, they always gonna hug you.
Yeah.
And they gonna leave them prints on you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, today they will be on Facebook, social media, and the girl will be gone. Like, what is it about that said for you, Nanny? Okay, it just maybe I had a spat or whatever. Or tell me how you handle it, and then what made you not leave? Cause I'm saying today women can't handle anything. Really, anybody can't handle anything.
Okay.
They be ready to go off the first little text message.
And let me back up from the beginning. You gotta love one another. I love that man.
Right.
I love him. And that lipstick when he came home, and I fussed. Yes, I did. And I would go through his billfold. That's how I found the telephone number. Right? We would have an argument stuff, and
Right.
and we get the spat, and then it go away, I guess. But there was one time when something happened in our marriage, and I left and went down to Freddie's house. They lived not too far from us in our family home, and he had done something I didn't like. I thought he was messing off, and then I went down there and I stayed with them one night, and I came back home. I just wouldn't stay away. And then that might have been time my mama told me, something else she said, you better get back to the house. Snow working and taking care of y'all. See, he worked, and he was a good provider. Yeah. And my mama told me, you better get back home. That boy worked, and he take care of y'all.
Wow.
That's what she said. So that was a plus for him, too. When he did find a job, he worked and took care of us.
That's a consistent thing you said over the course when we've been going through y'all history. My dear.
Yeah.
Saying, giving you structure of telling you what the standard is. Nowadays, we got mother-in-laws meddling to distract the wife and saying you don't need to put up with that, or you need to leave him, or they the cause. I think it's the third leading cause of divorce nowadays, statistically speaking, is in-laws. But it sounds like they will fight to keep y'all together and keep your head on straight.
What kind of person it was.
And that was the reason for that. She was brought up in church where they told you to stay there. And now these pastors and preachers make excuses.
Wow.
But back in those days, they told you to stay there. A lot of them, church mothers and sisters, had to go home to a wine bibber.
Yeah.
Their husband was drunk and, jump on them when they go in the door and rape them and all that. But the preacher would tell them to stay there, to anoint the bed and all that. And before you know it, the husband was saved. They don't even, consider staying, today. There's no more, for worse.
Right.
They only look for, for better.
But let me say something to that point about the fight and stuff. But we have so much family violence now, and we're in a different generation.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't think that if they find you, because you know these guys, they on drugs and they beat up the mama and kill them and kill the kids too.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't encourage if it's a lot of violence. I wouldn't say you leave time to get
That's
slapped.
right. You don't have to stay
I got slapped one time by your papa, and he had been out all night. That was one Easter, when it was in the Easter weekend.
Right.
And I was running my mouth, and he slapped me, and I fell on the floor, and I was acting though. I like he didn't knock me down, but I was fussing. He had been out all night.
Right.
That was another thing. The reason I'm saying this, Jermaine, not to show him up.
No, you good.
But our marriage hasn't been just perfect.
Right.
Perfect.
Right.
We've had some ups and downs.
Exactly.
We had more ups than downs, though. But I did get hit. That's the only time I can remember him ever hitting me, because my daddy fought my mama, his mom and daddy fought. And I said, I don't never know a man to fight me like my daddy did my mama.
Right.
He said the same thing. I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
So we was in agreement with that. But I did get slapped at one time.
There's a difference between a slap and a beat down.
Yeah.
It's a way different.
No, he didn't beat me.
So yeah, if somebody's beating you down, get up out of there.
Yeah.
That's way different thing.
Especially if they do it more than once.
Right.
Yeah, but to her, dad is, credit. He took care of his family.
My daddy sure did.
That's probably what her mother saw. He was a real good provider. He would get drunk as a skunk and act crazy, but when Monday morning came, he headed for Safeway.
Yeah.
He worked hard. let's when the weekend came, he partied.
Yeah.
And that, crazy stuff made him act crazy.
He drink alcohol. We know drugs back then.
I know, so his wife must have known, he been drinking, so he gonna come home and act crazy and even slap me around.
Yeah, he did.
But he gonna get me a new car.
Yep.
Daddy always had a nice car.
He gonna, we ain't gonna ever be hungry.
Mm-hmm.
First one in the neighborhood with a TV.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So he was a good, provider. Now I see that as, the difference.
Yeah.
If you just have a man that watch soap operas all day and won't work, and then, you work and he come home, you come home and then he jump on you.
Right.
Get rid of him. He ain't worth
Exactly.
nothing. But there have been times when your grandmama frustrated me. But I said I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. This is my house. If she wanna leave, she can go. I ain't going nowhere.
If I'd have left, what you'd have done?
Huh?
If I'd have left, what you'd have done? Nothing.
Just waited for you to come home.
Let's go.
Even though I mentioned about my husband's telephone number going out and the incident that happened,
Right.
I think my mama told me this, or I learned it myself. Women shouldn't try to get back at their husband when they do something.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, seemed like men was expected to do some mess off or whatever, but we can't try to pay them back.
Yes.
Don't get out, I know he's cool, I'm gonna get me somebody. Don't do that. There have been times that I could have, I don't know how I've always been looking like this. I had some opportunities,
Right.
but I passed it up. But I knew my husband had he's brought up, rough and had a rough time. And I said I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't want to go out and have another guy or something like that because I didn't want him. I said he had enough hurt in his life.
Wow.
I didn't want to hurt him.
That's a
I
huge
think that
thing,
would hurt
man.
him.
And I gotta ask you this because we live in the most liberated time for women nowadays. Back in your day, especially in my dear days, y'all mostly stay-at-home moms, probably did not work at all. That's when the feminist movement was really growing and giving rights for women for a lot of different things, which is great. But at the same time, we got the most complaining women, like as far as at home, like to the point they can't find husbands, unhappy and all that. And then that aspect even the most, thinking that they equal to, as far as sexual infidelity, things like that. Because, we talk about the man's nature and the woman's nature.
Yeah.
Like a lot of women do cheat based on revenge. And thinking, if he can do it, I can do it too.
I can do it too.
And that's so impactful that you said that because it's a whole different era, a whole different way of thinking nowadays.
Now, I didn't feel that way because I didn't want to hurt him. And even though I saw the lipstick, but I didn't go out because I had friends that wanted to go out, and he didn't mind me going out.
Right. Yeah.
And I had some, and I did go out. He would let me go out. You remember Ruth, the lady, the friend named Ruth? We would go out, and I would dance with guys. As a matter of fact, when he worked at Slicks, I was out at a club. This guy, he worked at Slicks too. I knew who he was, but he didn't know who I was.
Oh man!
And he asked me to dance.
Wow!
With him. He was a player. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I didn't tell him who I was or anything, and I danced with him, but I was a lady. I didn't try to. And there have been times people try to hit on me, but I went home to my husband. I didn't go, and since I've been married to him, he's the honest guy. He's the oldest one out of 50-something years.
59. You said 59 years early.
59 years. Nobody else. And that's something I'm very proud of.
That's awesome.
Not bragging.
Right.
And not just, well, ain't nobody flirt, which I've had opportunities
Right.
I could have.
Right.
But I didn't. I didn't want to hurt him. That's when I was younger. I don't think nobody messes with grandma now.
You never know, man. You never know. You never know.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the answer. This is exactly what I did to find my wife, Vera. I'm a traditional man. Sitting down with my grandparents multiple times, not just this time, I was able to see the type of woman I needed in my life. But my blueprint was my grandparents because I see their marriage as standing the test of time. They've been married 60 years now. If I wanted my marriage to be built on a firm foundation, I didn't have to search high and wide and far away. All I had to do was look within my family and see what they did, duplicate what they did. Yes, the times have changed, but the foundation and the core of what marriage is has not. And I want to challenge you. You and yourself have family members that have been married for a while. I ain't talking about that aunt, uncle that been together for about 12 years and, they just common law marriage. That's different. They still in fear. I'm talking about your grandma. I'm talking about your great uncle, your great aunt. Those are people we should tap into for their blueprint. They put in the work. If successful marriage is your goal, if long-term marriages is your goal, we have to study it because people have been put here and God has kept them here for us to learn from them. Whether it be their mistakes or their successes, we can all learn from them. How about we do that today?